So this positive trajectory of U.S.-Turkey partnership is one that this administration is certainly committed to continuing. But I'd like to also highlight some challenges ahead from the perspective of the Department of Defense. Any relationship, no matter how strong, must be continually managed and reinvigorated. The sheer complexity of the current security environment guarantees that we may have moments when the policies of Turkey and the policies of the United States don't always align, or at least not automatically align. The true test of our relationship will be how we manage those differences. We do remain especially concerned by the state of relations between Israel and Turkey. Considering that these are two vital democracies of strategic consequence for the United States and for regional stability, we hope that a political solution can be reached to move beyond the events of last May aboard the Mavi Marmara. We encourage creativity and engagement between Tel Aviv and Ankara to find a way forward. Let me also address the topic of our policies toward Iran. Turkey has played an important role as the international community tries to engage Iran to end its illicit nuclear programs, and of course hosted the last P5+1 meeting with Iran in January. Overall, we share the same goal of preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon and also strengthening the nuclear non-proliferation regime. Although we've had some important differences on tactics, we're confident that Turkey intends to abide by all relevant UN Security Council resolutions and that it will remain an important and committed non-proliferation partner for the United States on this and many other issues. The whole of the U.S.-Turkish relationship is much more than the sum of its parts, and there is certainly untapped potential for both sides. We'd like to increase our economic, trade, and cultural ties and expand educational exchanges, and we'd like our relationship to maintain its firm grounding in defense and security. We face in particular a common threat of terrorism to our homelands and our way of life, be it Al-Qaeda or the PKK. But I think that most of all, we share a common outlook on the world. Secretary of Defense Bob Gates explained U.S. and Turkish alignment very well last October. In his remarks to the American-Turkish Council's annual conference, he said that even as our views and approaches on some issues may differ, we are allies. We share fundamental interests in the region, and our goals remain the same. Secretary Gates highlighted 3 points: our agreement on respect for sovereignty and the rule of law, economic growth and development, and enduring stability and security. And I would add to that list of goals that Turkey and the United States share, a strong belief in the universal rights of people to live free from fear and harm, and a common aspiration for fair and accountable governance. This shared goal was the basis of the Truman Doctrine, and therefore the very beginnings of the U.S.-Turkish strategic alignment that led to Turkey's entry into NATO back in 1952. Now let me close by raising a few areas where I see significant opportunities in the relationship, that untapped potential that I just referred to. The first challenge is to maintain our strong defense cooperation. As Turkey's economy continues to grow and its technological capacity increases, Turkey has also developed to become among the region's strongest defense industries. Turkey seeks to become a preeminent defense industrial power, and judging by this year's International Defense Industry Fair held in Istanbul, Turkey is advancing very quickly toward this goal. Instead of seeking to compete with U.S. defense industry, Turkey has chosen to partner, as in the recent agreement to develop a new utility helicopter between Sikorsky Aircraft Corporation and Turkish Aerospace Industries. This was the right decision on purely economic and technical merits for Turkey, but it was also the right decision to ensure that NATO allies work together in defense industrial cooperation. Turkey and the United States are, of course, also close partners on the Joint Strike Fighter and a host of other projects that will contribute to the defense, security, and economies of both nations. The second challenge is to ensure that Turkey remains strongly committed to NATO and NATO to Turkey, even as the security outlook of members may increasingly differ on specific issues. When Secretary Gates delivered his warning on the future of NATO earlier this month, his message was clear. NATO, the most powerful political and military alliance that the world has ever known, is the sum of its members' military strength and commitment. Maintaining that commitment by implementing the ambitious agenda agreed upon at Lisbon is critical, and Turkey will definitely play a defining role. Now, in return, Turkey has the right to expect that its security will be taken seriously, as it occupies an especially perilous geography in the current security landscape. In particular, the PKK threatens not only Turkey, but the values of the NATO alliance. The question of minority grievances within Turkey should be addressed through the political process, and no quarter should be given by any nation to those who support violence to achieve their ends. Also, the threats on the border of any NATO nation must be treated seriously by the entire alliance. The crisis in Syria, now spilling refugees into Turkey, is a crisis on a NATO border, and we must carefully consider Turkey's needs on the matter as we press the Assad regime to end the violence once and for all against its own people. The third challenge I'd like to mention is for Turkey to continue to engage constructively in rapprochement with its neighbors. It doesn't need any encouragement in that regard. President Obama said to Turkey's parliament in 2009 that each country must work through its past, and reckoning with the past can help us seize a better future. The United States strongly supports a continuation of Turkey's efforts to reach a rapprochement with Armenia, as we do continued dialogue on a still divided Cyprus. Turkey's gone farther than most believe possible in reaching out to its neighbors in recent years, and that momentum to resolve remaining conflicts should continue. Progress in those relations is vital to Turkey's most important long-term project of European Union accession and to the continued strength of its ties with the United States. A fourth challenge is for Turkey and the United States to continue to work together to bring into closer alignment our efforts to prevent would-be regional spoilers, both state and non-state actors alike, who would seek to take advantage of current regional instability to undermine democratic gains among Turkey's neighbors in pursuit of their own interests. And this applies specifically to Iran and the support that it continues to provide to the Syrian regime in the oppression of its own people, as well as its broader support for terrorist groups and proxies in the Middle East. When the history of the U.S.-Turkish relationship in the first decades of the 21st century is written, I'm hopeful that it will show allies who have been tested but remain resolute and who emerge stronger. As the pace of change continues to accelerate, Turkey and the United States must adapt to the change, bonded by core principles, and each bringing an indispensable element of leadership aimed at fostering stability and prosperity. We must strive to be relevant to one another, committed, and attentive to one another's interests. At times, this may necessitate decisions that are domestically difficult for us, but decisions that will ultimately advance our shared strategic interests. So thanks again for the opportunity to speak this morning, and thanks for your attention. And I have a few minutes to answer some questions from the floor.